What's going on, guys? Today I wanted to bring you another one of my 2014 NAWCQ hat format deck profiles. The deck I want to bring you today is a really cool deck, and it's called Spirit Control. There's a couple different spirit decks in this format, so I'll probably go over those in separate videos, so not to be confused with things like Ghostrick Spirits or Spirit Hands, though the Spirit Hand deck profile is very similar to this one, and some people will even consider that deck just another version of Spirit Control, which it pretty much is, and I'll talk about the changes I would make if you did want to play the hand version. But anyways, guys, let's get straight into this deck profile. It's really cool, like I said, and it even has had a handful of tops in this format and even back in the day. So starting off with the monsters, we play 3 copies of Aratama. This one, I guess one thing to quickly note is all the spirit monsters, they can't be special summoned, and during the end phase of the turn in which they are normal or flipped face up, they return to the hand. They all have that effect. So Aratama is the same thing, except when it's normal summoned or flipped face up, you get to add a spirit monster from your deck to your hand, except itself. So it's your main searcher. It's basically your Stratos. After that, 3 Nikitama. This one, same usual effect. It has really high defense, 1800, which is very nice. And this one has the effect that the turn it's normal summon or flip face up, you can additional summon 1 spirit monster this turn. And then it also has the effect that when it's sent to the graveyard, you draw a card, but for that to activate and resolve, you need to control a spirit monster. That is a mandatory effect as well, so it won't miss timing despite being a when effect. So that's really cool too, and it will help you with some of your main combo lines, if you even want to call it that, which I'll talk about a little later on. After that, the next spirit monster is 2 copies of Yaksha. This one's really cool because when it's normal summoned or flip face up, you can target a spell or trap your opponent controls and return it to the hand. So that's really cool because it plays around, say, if your opponent has set artifacts. It's also really nice because it forces your opponent to negate this unless they don't want to bounce the card. Or even if you target, say, one of their back row and they want that back row to stay on the field, they might chain a breakthrough skill that's a different set, or a fiendish chain for that matter. And that way, at that point, you forced a back row already, and you know that that's probably a pretty decent back row, so you can play around that accordingly. But anyways, that's it for the spirit monsters. Moving on to the next part of the monsters, we play 3 Kagado Kage. This card is kind of one of the second halves of the deck that make it so good. Your ideal opening would be a Nikitama and an Aritama, so just again these 2. And what you would do is you would normal summon the Nikitama. You would, because you summoned a level 4 monster, special a Kagado Kage, then additional normal in Aritama, searching another copy of Nikitama, and then you would overlay the Nikitama and the Kagado Kage into King of the Feral Imps, detach the Nikitama to search another Kagado Kage as follow-up, and from that point you would be able to draw 1 as well, and then during the end phase this will return to hand, so you basically have the same exact sort of loop that you do to keep gaining 1 card draw, plus you're still keeping your advantage loop with the Kagado Kage and having that whole combo kind of keep going. After that, I also play 2 copies of Photon Thrasher. This is a little less common in the builds, but I personally think it's really cool simply because you're able to free special summon it, and then if you have the Nikitama and Aritama, you can basically do the same exact play, but you don't have to have the Kagado Kage, which is really cool. It also, again, just works being able to get a free summon. So there's some other cards that I play that are free extenders that I'll talk about a little later on, and this will have more implications there. After that, I play one copy of Blackluster Soldier, so Photon Thrasher is also another light target to be able to summon this. And there's actually a really cool combo with sort of that Kagado Kage line that I just spoke about. It also works really well with this, but what you're able to do is basically make a Lavalval chain and use the Lavalval chain's effect to stack your deck, and then when you detach the Aritama or the Nikitama, you're able to then draw into that BLS, and usually at that point when you're going for that line, you'll already have it live, which is really cool. So basically being able to search BLS is really strong because that card is still insane in this format. For hand traps, 2 DD Crow and 2 Max C. DD Crow just being good interruption as well as being a dark monster, and then Max C just being able to get more advantage or slow down your opponent is really cool. And that is it for the monsters. Moving on to the spells, I play 3 copies of MST. This deck really wants its summons to go through and to be uninterrupted. That's kind of also one of the reasons people will play hands in other versions, is just because it's with the hands, it will have the potential to clear boards as well as have that additional level 4 on board. So when you do your Nikitama, Aritama plays, you have that extra spirit on field, so you'll be able to draw because you'll use, say, the fire or ice hand and one of your other, the Nikitama, and go and overlay and be able to make your rank 4 while still having a spirit on board. But 3 MST is really good, and then also I play 2 Forbidden Lance for the same reason, though I feel Forbidden Lance is more reactive. It's kind of hoping your opponent has something for you to react to, where MST can clear boards going first and not worry about it, or well, I shouldn't say going first. It can be set to clear boards going into, your opponent's turn, which is nice. So when they set cards, you can just get them off the field right away. So that's why we play that. After that, 2 copies of Instant Fusion. This is the other card that I was referring to with Photon Thrasher, being able to special Photon Thrasher and then summon level 4 off of Instant Fusion, which can basically at that point let you go into your King of the Feral Imps to search a Kagado Kage. So if you already have the spirits in hand, you've already sort of done the combo before even having to go and do your normal summoning for the turn, which is really cool. After that, we play 2 copies of Creature Swap and 1 Mind Control. This might seem a little strange, but what's cool about this, I'll put this down here for the glare. What's cool about this is the spirit monsters return to hand during the end phase, so what you're even able to do is normal a spirit creature swap, and during the end phase you'll get your monster back, and you basically just took an opponent's monster. But these also combo really well with each other, for the sake of, say your opponent has 2 monsters on the board, you're able to take their monster. Usually, say they have 2 really good monsters, or 1 good monster, 1 bad monster, you can use the mind control to bait taking their weaker monster, which usually they won't respond to because it wouldn't matter why you're taking the lesser of the 2 good monsters, and then creature swap basically forcing them to give you the monster that's actually better, whereas this can kind of bait out more cards. Say they might compulse back their own monster so you don't take it or something like that, which obviously they could do with the creature swap play too, but it's a little there's more situations where that will come up. But in general, both really good, and also ways to get non-spirits on the field so that you can do your main plays. And the last spell is 1 Dark Hole. Again, you usually have no monsters on the field, so being able to Dark Hole freely is really good. After that, 2 copies of Breakthrough Skill, 2 copies of Fiendish Chain, just to protect your life if you are running a little low on monsters, or if you're just in the Spirit Engine and everything keeps bouncing back. After that, 2 copies of Wiretap. Like I said, this deck really doesn't like back row, so Wiretap is really key as well. And then the last for the one-ofs, we play 1 Compulse, 1 Bottomless, 1 Torrential, 1 Blackhorn, and 1 Warning to round out the traps. One other cool thing to mention, I guess, is for spells, some builds will play Pot of Dichotomy, which is this card here. At the start of your main phase 1, you target 3 monsters with different types in your graveyard, shuffle them all into the deck, and draw 2 cards, and you can't conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this card. I think other spirit decks are better with this card simply because this one is slightly more aggro versus the more control-y builds. So I personally don't play this, but this is a really cool card you can play. There's other cards, for example, this card here, Memory of an Adversary. When your opponent's monster declares an attack, you take damage equal to the attacking monster's attack, and if you do, banish that monster, and then during the end phase of the opponent's next turn, special summon that monster to your side of the field. That's cool, again, because you need to have not like extra monsters, usually level 4s, to do your extending plays. But for me personally, I feel that card's a little slow, so that's why I don't play it in this build particularly. But anyways, moving on to the extra deck. 1 Karen Gorgon, 1 Ragna-Zero, 1 King of the Feral Imps. I kind of want to play a second copy of this, but so far I've just been playing the 1, but that's definitely a consideration for a card I would play a second copy of. 1 Black Ship of Corn, 2 101. I play 2 usually just because this can help you play through heavy back row. You do play a lot of back row removal, so that's not always the biggest case. I might swap this out for the second king, but it has been pretty cool to have that. 1 copy of Giant Hand, 1 Heartland Draco, 1 Diamond Direwolf, 1 Exciton, 1 Lavalval Chain for that cool stacking BLS play, 1 Digusto Emerald. I find this is better than the Dichotomy, being an extra deck card and still getting your battle phase and things, so that's pretty cool. 1 Abyss Dweller and 1 Rhapsody and Berserk, and then we do play the 1 Instant Fusion target, and I chose to play Darkfire. This could be any level 4 Dark for that matter, but you know, it could be Camion Wizard or this. It doesn't really matter, so I just play the 1 there. But that is this deck profile. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you do have any questions, make sure to comment those in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, get notified anytime I put new videos out. Share this video with your friend, like I said. And anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video.